Hey, where are we? And what is this? Well, it's called a seat slider, and today we're going to show you how to install one on your racing rig. Welcome to the channel. So I ordered my seat slider from Overdose Performance in Quebec, and the kit is pretty simple. It comes with your bag of bolts, it comes with your actual seat slider lever, which is this piece right here, and it comes with your housing that has your grooved brackets, the rail that sits on your rig, and the housing where your seat sits on top of, and that slides back and forth. Now that gold-plated part or that brass part that you see there, that's the actuator, and then that has a spring attached to it, and when that lifts up, that allows you to move your seat back and forth. So you can see the mechanism moving up and down there. So when it goes up, that's when the seat is unlocked and it can slide back and forth. And those grooved pieces, those are the notches where your seat will sit into and not move back. Now, I just took some measurements just to make sure that everything is going to line up properly. Tried to make it fit as best as possible. Tried to make it as even as possible. So with your seat, if it's a brand new seat, or even if it's an old one, you have to take your seat brackets off of it. This is the second seat that I'm using for this rig because I decided to go for a large instead of the medium that I was previously using. I'll talk about this seat in another video. This is the nut and bolt assembly. The silver part is the nut that's going to sit in the channel of your rig, and the bolt is going to go through one of the holes of your railing. That's the part where the notches are. Those notches, I just tried to make it even. Left side, I think I went 9, and then the right side, I made it 9. Now I'm 6'1", so I had my slider placed a little bit up front so that I can slide it back if I wanted it to. Most likely the friends that'll come over, anybody that uses it at my place, they're going to want to slide it forward. So I have lots of room in here. So if you're a real tall person and you set it to the back, most likely people are going to bring the seat forward and not backwards. Now, if you're on the shorter end, you may want to set yours forward so that, you know, if you have taller friends, they're most likely going to set it back. Just something to think about. And it's one of those things. It's trial and error. So if you've set up your sim rig before, most likely you've used the Allen keys, and that's what I'm using here. Just trying to make everything even as possible. Now it's not, I wouldn't say this is rocket science to attach this, but it does take some thinking. I came up with a little snag caused by the fact that this is the first time I'm putting one of these on, and I will show you where I went wrong and show you what the simple resolution is for it. So here I am just trying to get that seat bracket lined up so that the seat, you know, is even on both sides as much as possible. And it's important that you get your holes lined up with the slider bracket, or else your seat is going to be crooked. Actually, just make sure you use the same holes on left and right. Now the tricky part is getting the nut at the bottom. That's why I have my fingers inside of it under here to hold it. It's a bit tricky, but it's not really that difficult. And if you have smaller hands, that's better. So if you have really big hands, you may want to get somebody with small hands to help you with that. Now what I did there was I just slid the sliding portion up front so that I can attach the bolt to the stationary part inside. Okay, you want to make sure that you tighten this down nice and tight, because you don't want any movement in here, because then your seat will feel it too. And once you're happy with the placement of the brackets, good. So this is what happens when you use that lever to actuate the spring. The whole thing slides back and forth. Just making sure my vertical seat rails are close enough together, because if they're not, if they're too wide, then the bar is going to fall apart. That's what was happening to me. So I want to line up the holes of the actuating lever with the pegs. Just trying to get both sides even. Now those holes, that's where the pegs are going to go into, or nubs, whatever you want to call them. Now you don't have to use a hammer or anything, you just hand press them in there. And that's what happens, it just lifts up the actuator. See, that's good, because the lever, you can see it there at the back, it's exposed. So it will work, and on this side, it will not work. Now it's exposed, that's exactly what you want. So the whole system is going to work, because you can see it moving there. It took me about half an hour to figure that out, and I was not too happy, let's just say that. So now I'm doing a dry fit for the seat with the brackets, just to make sure I don't have the brackets too wide. But again, the brackets can't be too narrow, or else my actuating lever will not lift up properly. So honestly, this took me another 20 minutes to line everything up. A lesson learned for the next time if I put another rig together. This part is not really hard at all. It's just a matter of how far up do you want your seat. And from underneath, that's what it looks like. You can see the lever working there, and that'll lift up the spring. And then your seat can go forward and back. Back. So for taller people that are taller than 6'1", it works. And for people that are shorter than 6'1", it works. Lots of free movement. I'm happy. So thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much if you are a subscriber. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, any videos you'd like me to do, if I have the gear, I'd love to do it. And other than that, have fun racing.